So just before I came on air here, I turned on C-SPAN. Usually they get super high ratings. I turned it on because the Jeff Sessions hearing is happening. So Jeff Sessions was picked to be Attorney General by Donald Trump, and now he's going to get grilled by Democrats, allegedly. I'll believe it when I see it. The Democrats are notorious for their weakness. But right before I came on air, we had Republicans who were basically blowing him. You had Susan Collins of, I think, Maine, is it? Basically saying, Jeff Sessions has had so many unfair attacks against him, and they've, maligned his character, and it's got to be painful. You know, he's got to be in a lot of pain after hearing accurate things said about him to his face. You had Chuck Grassley, Republican of Iowa. I think he's the head of this committee. He was saying kind words about him, too. He also did some questioning of Sessions and just pitched softballs right down the center of the plate. He basically said, so if you and the president disagree, do you tell him that you disagree, or do you let the president do whatever he wants to do? Okay, Jeff, answer my question. This is not scripted or planned at all. And Jeff was showing off his grandkids because, one of the easiest ways to try to get confirmed and try to make yourself viewed in a more positive light is to humanize yourself. Hey, I have grandkids, huh? Which means I have kids, which means there's a woman on the planet who thought enough of me to have sex with me and have a family with me, so I can't be all that bad. So, look, see, youngins, so I hope you like me more now. Forget everything I've ever said and done. Please approve me. And it was gross. Code Pink protesters started protesting, I believe, 3 minutes into the hearing. I support them. There was one chant. Let's see. I have it here on my Twitter somewhere. They said, no Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA. Now, I know that sounds a little hyperbolic, but when you look into Jeff Sessions' past, the no KKK part, really not that out there. So, I just wanted to remind everybody real fast of who we're dealing with when we talk about Jeff Sessions. I mean, Jeff Sessions, senator from Alabama, he's been in Washington for a long time, since 1997, so he's got a 20-year career. And he is, without question, one of the most hardline, ultra-right-wing, down-the-line conservatives in the country. And for Trump to do the anti-establishment talk, and then when push comes to shove, say, actually, you know what, forget all that, let's just go with Sessions for Attorney General. I mean, that just flies directly in the face of what Trump claims his philosophy is. Because Sessions has basically been 100% on the side of the corporations and 100% on the side of Christian fundamentalism and social conservatism his entire career. So I did some digging, went to ontheissues.com, looked at Jeff Sessions' record, and listen to these facts. First of all, he has a 0% rating from NARAL. They're the pro-choice group. But a 0% rating means that he's not once in his 20-year career voted in support of abortion, contraception, Planned Parenthood, free clinics in general. He's never once cast a vote that was on the side of reproductive rights. And that includes votes as extreme as this. Listen to this. He voted to make it illegal for somebody to cross the border, to cross a border, to get an abortion. So in other words, if you live in Mississippi and, you had an accident with your boyfriend, and Mississippi, obviously the laws are tight there on abortion. So what are you going to do? What do you do? Well, okay, we gotta take care of this, so I guess we gotta cross the border and go into a different state and try to get it there. He voted to make it illegal to do that. Jeff, what are you doing? So what do you want to do? You want to lock a poor girl up for being in this tough situation and trying to handle it? Is that what you want to do? I say that, but his answer might be yes. And remember, he supported Trump from the beginning. And it was near the beginning that, remember, there was the big scandal over Trump saying, I think there should be punishment for a woman who gets an abortion. Where even other pro-life people were like, whoa, look, we're not in favor of abortion, but punishing the woman, I think that goes too far. So, really, really extreme. Think about that. 0%. That's as extreme as it gets, literally. Sessions also voted against reauthorizing the Violence Against Women Act in 2013. Like, on some of these, on face value alone, you would expect them to have the common sense enough to say, you know, that's going to look really bad in an attack ad, so I better vote for it, or I better, like, for example, miss the vote. You could do that. Hey, you know, I'm sitting this one out. No, he's like, I'm going to vote against it. The Violence Against Women Act, I think it was actually Joe Biden who originally wrote it, and then obviously it was reauthorized in 2013, but many Republicans voted against it. And there's a lot of really important stuff in there, man. So, for example, there's like a domestic abuse hotline, and that's probably saved countless lives. And one of the main objections that Republicans made, this sounds fake, but I assure you it's not. One of the main objections was, hey, I mean, I guess maybe we'd kind of not really be in favor of the Violence Against Women Act, but, you know, you guys are trying to include Native American women in there and LGBTQ women in there. I mean, you can't expect me to vote for it when you want to protect Native American women and LGBTQ women too. Right? Isn't that obvious? Hello? No, dipshit. What are you saying? No, they're so extreme. It's beyond the pale. Jeff Sessions also isn't only just against gay marriage. He supports a constitutional amendment to ban it. That's a whole nother level of extreme. So it's not just, hey, I don't want it, but it is what it is. Let's just have it not legal. He's like, let's specifically and explicitly ban it in the Constitution. So not only is it illegal now, we make it so that you handcuff future generations so that if we move in a more socially progressive direction and 100 years from now they want to change it, they can't change it unless they, change the Constitution, which is obviously very, very difficult to do. So insane, man. This guy is as extreme as it gets. He also supported banning flag burning. And that's another one where he recommended, hey, maybe we do a constitutional amendment on that one too. So in other words, these guys who claim to be, and Jeff Sessions is one of them, oh, we're constitutionalists. You have to understand that. We believe in the direct, straightforward, literal interpretation of the Constitution. Except when we don't. Because the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, which allows for free speech and free expression, free protest, freedom of the press too. So that I don't believe in, because if you do something that triggers me with your microaggression, I need my safe space. So you burn the flag, oh, that's my flag. That's my flag. I can't have you burn the flag. Lock them up. Lock them up. Lock them up. So you don't believe in free speech. You don't believe in it. Because the second somebody does something you disagree with that's free speech and free expression and free protest, you flip out. So, I mean, think about that. This guy, Attorney General, and he doesn't understand the First Amendment or agree with the First Amendment. How about he voted no on adding the LGBTQ community to the definition of hate crimes. Stay classy there, pal. He voted yes on loosening cell phone wiretapping spying laws. So in other words, he's even more in favor of having the NSA get all of your information, collect all of your metadata, have it stored in a creepy facility somewhere in Utah. He's like, yeah, no, totally. He's one of these guys who, law and order, I'm on the side of law enforcement no matter what. So that means that when law enforcement decides to skirt the Constitution, when law enforcement decides to go way too far, he thinks, well, but they're right no matter what. And this is his philosophy playing out in his voting record. He's like, what do you mean? If we spy, if the government, if the police, if law enforcement spies, well, then yeah, it's totally fine. So forget procedure, forget due process, forget holding people in power accountable, forget warrants. No, let's loosen spying laws. He also has a 0% rating, I'm sensing a theme here, from the Human Rights Campaign, which means that he voted against the LGBTQ community 100% of the time. 100% of the time. 100% of the time. 100% of the time. And he said it again, 100% of the time. This is the guy who we want for Attorney General. This is the guy. He has a 20% rating from the ACLU. Improving there, buddy. You're only wrong 80% of the time. And a 7% rating from the NAACP. I have to say on that one, I'm a little surprised he even got a 7% rating. It must have been like an accidental vote where his interests for whatever reason aligned with the NAACP. But Jeff Sessions is a guy who, at one time, he cracked a joke where he said, "Oh, I used to think the KKK were good guys until I found out some of them smoke weed." He also called a white civil rights attorney a, quote, traitor to his race. Yeah, how about that one? So he has a terrible record on race, so a 7% rating from the NAACP. I'm actually a little bit impressed. And then, just to give you some more here, because might as well while we're at it, Jeff Sessions voted no on repealing tax subsidies for companies which move U.S. jobs offshore. So flies right in the face of everything Donald Trump has claimed to believe all along. Hey, I'm against NAFTA, I'm against TPP, outsourcing is bad. Well, looks like the guy you picked for Attorney General, not that it's totally pertinent to being Attorney General, but it looks like he's a big-time outsourcer. Is that a word? Outsourcerer. There, we just made up a word. That's fun. Sessions has a 14% grade from the United Food and Commercial Workers International Union, meaning that he sides with management over workers 86% of the time. So yet again, here you have Donald Trump looking after the little guy, the average Joe, gonna make America great again by almost always siding with management over workers. Jeff Sessions voted to escalate the drug war in 1999. And of course, Sessions, the now infamous quote, rightly so, he said, "Good people don't smoke marijuana." Now, this is really important because, again, Attorney General, that would be his position. Very, very powerful position. So this guy would be responsible for example, anytime there's like hate crimes legislation that comes across his desk that he would have to make a case on. He doesn't even believe in hate crimes. So what's he going to do? He's not going to fucking prosecute him. He's never going to do it. Again, he said LGBTQ people shouldn't even be considered in the definition of hate crime. So if there's a case that comes across his desk like that, he's not going to fucking take it, or he's going to throw it, or he's going to do whatever. He's not interested in that. When it comes to marijuana, understand that all that progress made in the various states, that could all go away like that. Because the way our system works, you have the supremacy clause of the Constitution, which means that federal law overrides state law. So wherever there's a conflict, it's clear. It's not an issue. Federal law wins out. So the fact that in California, recreational marijuana is legal, or Colorado or Washington State, that's irrelevant. Because if the federal government decides, you know what, we disagree, they could just send in the hounds and crack down, and that's it. And there's no legal recourse. I mean, they could try to have legal recourse, but they're going to lose that case in 3 seconds. So all this progress can be swept away with a brazen enough administration that's willing to roll back the clock enough. Now, that would hurt them massively politically, but Jeff Sessions doesn't strike me as a guy who gives a fuck about stuff like that. So he could just roll all that back, man. And he's been clear. He voted to escalate the drug war, said good people don't smoke marijuana. He's on the record about this kind of stuff. So here's my position. If I'm the Democrats, no is the answer for Jeff Sessions. I would do absolutely everything in my power to block this guy. Now, you might say, and some Republicans might say, well, aren't you doing the same goddamn thing that Mitch McConnell did, and aren't you just as bad as him if you're blocking him? Well, there is a giant difference, that difference being Jeff Sessions and Trump's picks have been crazy, and Obama's were not crazy. Say what you want about him, and some of them had their issues, no doubt. But they're not fucking crazy, and they're not, reliably wrong on virtually every single issue. So, yeah, I'd block them. And furthermore, and here's the main part, look, I'm not an unreasonable dude. So if you want to put somebody in front of me who you want for Attorney General who is not a hardcore conservative Republican, but a hardcore libertarian kind of conservative, where, okay, he's not with me almost at all on economic issues, but what are you going to do? But when it comes to civil liberties, when it comes to social issues, he's not a lunatic. And he understands, okay, yeah, I believe in gay rights, of course. Okay, yes, I'm going to defend habeas corpus and due process and uphold free speech rights and stuff like that. Again, I'm not an unreasonable dude. I understand that the Democrats didn't win the election. The Democrats knew the rules. They knew about the Electoral College. They fucking lost. Hillary Clinton lost and Democrats got wiped out everywhere else. Okay, so you guys get to pick. I get it. But you're going to pick somebody who there is common ground. You're going to pick somebody where at least on something like social issues we go, okay. At the very least, I wouldn't obstruct somebody like that. Maybe I vote for him, maybe I don't vote for him. I don't know. The devil's in the details. I'd have to see the individual you're talking about. But here's who there's no question that I would go after and I would obstruct. I wouldn't let Jeff Sessions come anywhere near the title of Attorney General. It's just not happening. It's just not happening. He's the last person in the country who should be Attorney General, and everybody should know about his record, and we should obstruct him come hell or high water. I don't give a fuck what I got to do to get it done. I don't give a fuck if I have to do the equivalent of a filibuster at a hearing, which is not a thing. I'd make it a thing. I don't care, because he shouldn't be Attorney General. So if the Democrats buckle on this, oh my goodness, batten down the hatches, because it's going to get bad. If they can't even block Jeff Sessions when he's so obviously an odious moron who the American people would hate and disagree with, if you can't block him, the Democrats have no hope whatsoever.